Hi, welcome to the garden tonight. We will be picking green beans and showing y'all what to do with the abundance that you may have in your garden. Let's go! Alright, so these are my green bean plants, and they are a fragile plant, so I don't push them around too much, but you can push them back a good bit. So with a green bean plant, you don't want to pull, you want to snip, because you don't want to pull off this entire stem. So I always snip instead of pull. Alright, now we have our harvest for the night, and we will go inside and show you all how to freeze these. Alright, so we brought the green beans in. We're going to snap off the top end and the bottom end. And put them in a collator so we can clean them all up when we're done here. This is probably the most time consuming of the whole process. Alright, while we are snapping the ends off, we're going to get a kettle of water boiling. You only need enough of water just to cover the green beans when you put them in, so you don't need a full kettle. Just kind of figure out how much water you need, how many green beans you have. I like to pick my green beans young. They're not quite as bitter. They're a little bit sweeter when they're younger. Usually when they start to form pods, when you can see the beans on the inside, on the outside, like those little bumps, that's usually a little too big. Green beans go limp pretty quickly, so when you pick green beans, you hear that snap. That's the way they're supposed to sound. But if it bends like really easy, it's not a fresh green bean. So I like to pick the green beans, either use them for dinner that night or the next night. If I don't use them within like 2 to 3 days, I will either freeze them, give them away. You can also make like green bean pickles. If you put some vinegar and sugar, spices in a jar, you can kind of treat them like refrigerator pickles, and that's really yummy as well. But if you're not going to use them in a couple days, I would suggest figuring out what you're going to do with them. Alright, now we're going to give them a good rinse, make sure they're good and washed before we put them into the boiling water. So when your water comes to a rolling boil, you're just going to throw your green beans into that water, and you're going to let that water come back to a boil. So now you just wait for the green beans. Once they hit the water, it's going to cool the temperature a little bit, but you wait for that water to come back to boil. As soon as the water boils, you want to get the green beans out. We will drain them and cool them really quickly. Once those green beans start to boil, you want to get them off. This process is just called blanching, so you're not cooking them all the way. You're just preparing them to be in the freezer. You want to drain that water, and you want to cool them down pretty quickly. You're not boiling them all the way, you're just blanching them, which is just giving them a quick heat, prepare them for the freezer. So you drain them, put them into ice water. You want to cool them down pretty quickly so they're ready for the freezer, because you will be cooking them then when you get them out of the freezer. So now we will bag those. Alright, so now we are bagging them, and I will bag them around the same portion that you would normally buy at a grocery store, so they're ready to get out of your freezer and onto your dinner table. So that is how you pick green beans and freeze them. Stay on top of it. It won't be a lot to do every couple days. Thanks for watching.